So, Mark, did you see the Excel Championship returned? They had a panda. And as the Vegas account says, I can't believe I'm at the Microsoft Excel World Championship.
Do people still use Excel? I thought everybody used Google Sheets now.
Didn't you see these athletes running out for their thing? I mean, yes, these are rock stars, baby.
I did think it was great that they had like a run out tunnel and the hype music and the lights and everything. I just wonder, like, how crazy do you think the after party was for the winner? What do you drink it out of? There's no trophy to drink it out of, is there?
Oh my God, there's a good joke in there somewhere, but I can't think of it.
Pocket protector.
Poor Excel nerds. Poor Excel nerds. So a couple weeks ago, we talked about Flamingo. They announced their massive renovation for their lobby and some other public areas, new carpet. And Chris Holmes was over there. They already put up walls, so they're already starting on that lobby renovation. Very excited for that. And they've already started on the new carpet. He had a picture of what the new carpet looks like, or at least a strip of it. You could see the old carpet there. I like it. I don't think they're as good as, like, let's say Luxor, where they brought in like Egyptian imagery. Where are the flamingos on this carpet?
Yeah, you're thinking like a little more like Papa Pink and stuff like that. But I think it will be nice to see the updates. That check-in area is never great and it's been rough. So I'm glad that they're updating it. But we've seen some hellacious lines there. I wonder what all this construction is going to be like for that experience over the next several months while they update everything. I can't imagine it's going to be good.
Yeah, it's a very cramped area. It's going to continue to be cramped. I do agree with that. But exciting to see that they're already putting the carpet in. So that should give the casino floor a fresh look fairly quickly. And it is a nice carpet, like I said. I just wanted it to be more Vegas. I like the direction MGM went with more themed carpeting in New York, Luxor, and even Caesars with their new carpet at Caesars Palace, that red, beautiful carpet. This is good, but not great.
Yeah, and it's just another thing that they're doing at Flamingo, and it's kind of crazy that this is what Caesars has latched onto. I love the property. I'm glad to see it get updated. It's just an interesting play because I wouldn't think it would be a premier property, but maybe they think that they can get higher rates out of it when it's all said and done.
So moving over to Rio, Eggslut is opening December 19th. They announced this via Instagram, and this is being constructed right next to their front desk and their sports book, I believe where the Pho place used to be over there. And last time I was over there was behind walls. You can see it here, but good to see. This is obviously very popular at Cosmo, and they are expecting similar popularity over at Rio. I hope that they give us the free Hyatt breakfast there.
That'd be kind of amazing if they did that. And I know people love Eggslut a lot, and it's a big name for Rio to get, so it's a good get for them. Hopefully it is popular and brings people in, and I think that has the potential to bring people in that aren't staying at Rio to eat just the way it does at Cosmo. But Cosmo gets busy, the lines get long. Maybe this will have people hopping in a car and heading over there.
And hop in a car, indeed. I was talking to some people this weekend who were talking to me about a recent walk from the Rio to the Palms and how exciting that was in Las Vegas. So yeah, maybe getting in a car is better in that area.
No, don't do it.
But also go to Rio for the Voodoo Lounge because they have the Jingle Mingle Holiday Lounge going on through the end of the month. They describe it as a high-energy holiday lounge, fully decked out, festive escape filled with themed decor and photo-ready holiday ornaments. They obviously have seasonal cocktails, all that sort of stuff. We love Christmas bars. You're not going to get a Christmas bar with a better view than this.
No, I love when they do pop-ups like this at other bars, and this is epic with, being at the top of Rio and the views you get. And they got Das Boot, so I'm very excited that they have a boot drink. I wish they would do it kind of like Christmas markets in Europe, where you maybe get to keep one of the cups, or you can pay extra and keep the boot drink as a souvenir. And maybe next year, Jingle to Mingle on the side of it. I think that'd be a really cool collectible.
But it's nice to see them doing that. More holiday bars. Vegas does that pretty well. Sand Dollar has a really good one, the original Sand Dollar, and Silver Stamp downtown. We like them. Obviously, we talked about over at Silverton. There's so many. There's so many, but it's a great time, and those views will be incredible. As a reminder, we launched our first merch line, and we have pre-orders available. We're shipping out by the end of the year for our first classic Vegas design hats, t-shirts, hoodies. Go get them now, mtmvegas.shop. So on the last show, we started by making fun of what restaurant would you recommend to your enemies. And of course, you said Poppy Steak. I noticed you said that on Twitter too, and got people upset with you. A lot of responses to that. But there were some interesting responses. Well, maybe it was in the comments too. I don't know. But there were people who took offense saying Poppy Steak is fantastic. And I think you said the food was good there. It's not a matter of that. It's just the atmosphere. stuff like that. But there were a lot of interesting responses in that thread from Las Vegas locally. One of the more interesting looking ones, and I really appreciated that this person shared this, Chow Chow Cafe at the Forum Shops, because this is the wackiest looking sort of place with all kinds of like different things, and it's like a kiosk in the middle, overpriced everything. They're probably right.
It looks like an Annie Ann's that has a drinking problem.
there you go. It got bagels too. They got, they got a little bit of everything at this place, and it's all overpriced. So that's probably a valid sort of thing. But there were others. Any of the stalls at Italy, somebody said, I don't agree with that. Overpriced for sure, but food is good. Golden Steer, the Luxor buffet in the basement. Anytime you got to go to a buffet in the basement, I'm never a fan of that. I know many casinos did that in the past. Giada or Martha Stewart. By the way, all the Caesars celebrity chefs, they got plenty of mentions in this thread. Guy Fieri, of course. But there was a couple people said Prime Steakhouse at Bellagio, that the service there sucks.
Yeah, I had a decent meal at Giada. It was overpriced, but it was decent. I mean, the Martha Stewart, we need to go and get the smashed potato, whatever that stupid thing is that it's instead of a baked potato where they just hit it with a mallet or what. It's so ridiculous that it's $22. Oh yeah, that is a good one. They should send people to Martha Stewart.
And one more, Batista's Hole in the Wall. Todd said, tell them it's a charming Italian restaurant aimed at locals, which is located behind Cromwell, so only locals know it exists. Also mention that the owner is so nice, he will give you free wine. So he's sort of making fun of the low-quality wine and food at Batista's. By the way, we didn't say this out loud. I did sneak it in to the show when we talked about Stage Door, but Batista's is now open for your enjoyment. For your enemies, send them there.
I mean, good time. It won't be overly expensive, at least.
Well, staying with restaurants, La Liste or something like that. It's a French sort of international thing. They do the top 1,000 restaurants, and there are 4 in Las Vegas, including, I'm going to say this just to trigger everybody out there, Guy Savoy at Caesar's Palace. Of course, it's Guy Savoy at Caesar's Palace, which is about to celebrate its 20th anniversary, and it is the highest listed restaurant in Vegas, scoring 95 out of 100 points. The original Guy Savoy in France is the top restaurant in the world.
French restaurant won the French restaurant list? No way.
And 2 of the other 3 in Vegas are also French restaurants. La Cirque in Bellagio, Joel Rubicon at the MGM Grand, and then Wing Lei in Wynn Las Vegas with their Chinese food. That is, those are the best restaurants in the world. This is a pretty well-respected list from what I was able to figure out. Yeah, we don't hear Guy Savoy talked about enough because I've never heard a bad thing about that place.
I've never heard anything about the place. Like, it's always on these lists, but I don't know anybody that's actually eaten there. Have you ever talked to anybody that's actually eaten there?
I have. It's not cheap. Not cheap at all. Yes, I know a few people have eaten there. I have not. French food, fancy French food, I do like it, but I'm more of a steakhouse guy.
High-end French food is not my number one choice, and there's so many great options in Vegas that I'm going to end up somewhere else. But if you ever had like a celebration dinner or some comps or something, I could see go blowing it there.
So let's shift a little bit. LV Sports Biz, we've talked about them on the show. They do a great job of covering the LVCVA, going to the meetings because they aren't public. You know, they don't record them so people can see it. And he had a great article kind of pointing out some of the conflicts of interest between the LVCVA and Applied Analysis and Jeremy Aguero. That's the guy, when you see those big economic impact numbers, he's the one who generally puts it together. And there is a lot of skepticism around his numbers. I'm not accusing anything here and saying that his numbers aren't accurate or that what he's doing isn't correct. But this is a great article that points out all of the conflicts of interest between him and the stadium authorities and how he served as executive in the Raiders and now he's a consultant for the A's. But he also was on the other side of that to get these public funding measures approved. And it kind of does a great job of laying out some of the conflicts. And with that said, the LVCVA is about to give his company another 5-year extension to continue doing what he's doing. And he's certainly well respected in the community.
Are you guys picking up what Sean's laying down?
I didn't lay it down. It's all in this article. Just read the article. I've known all this stuff. I've hinted at it before. A lot of people who know things here are concerned with this stuff and the conflicts, you know, they are apparent. Nobody's accusing anybody of anything, but people should know when they see that number, what is all the juju that goes into that?
Yeah, and that's what's always tough about any of these reports, whether it's Vegas or anywhere else, is you can always make numbers look a certain way without giving the whole in-depth breakdown. It's kind of hard to tell what that looks like, and that's what we've seen, whether it's about cities or politics or anything, is people just finagle things the way that they want to. Not saying that that's what's happening here, but we don't know if we don't see how the ingredients, how it's cooked, you know, all of that stuff.
Staying on the subject of sports, the A's came out and said February 29th, 2028. That is the date that they are going to complete their stadium. The majority of the work over the next several months is going to be concrete related. So they're doing the footings, and we're going to start to see them building some of the seating sections, putting steel in next spring. But there is one little part of this that's a little concerning. At this point, the A's have not asked for public funding, so that's good. They haven't drawn into that $380 million yet, but they don't have yet a guaranteed maximum price contract for building the stadium, and they're struggling with tariffs right now.
Yeah, that's kind of scary, but I'm sure that they'll figure it out and get the money that they need to get to the end. The question just remains what is going to be built around it, if anything. But I think we buried the lead there. We're going to have like a leap year opening party.
I hope so. I mean, this is it's great. That would be great for them to open it. I like the novelty of doing it on that day. Mick Akers did some great reporting on this from the A's and kind of laid out, and I'll put a link down there, the entire schedule of what we should start seeing in the next few months, how we should see it sort of take shape. And by the summer, we should be seeing steel going up and that sort of stuff. And a lot of the base concrete, they said the entire foundation of the stadium has already been laid.
No, once they got started, it seems like they're moving along pretty well here. So it's good to see.
As a reminder, we have our Patreon. $5 a month gets you access to our weekly after show, tons of banter behind the channel, what we're doing in Vegas and elsewhere. Patreon.com/MTM Vegas for all the information. And thanks to everybody in our Patreon community. Last week, we talked about the Sand Dollar closing at Plaza. And that's sort of a sad thing. We didn't know what was going to replace it, but now we do. The Hogs and Heifers. Remember when they bought the land across the street from Plaza to build the new Hogs and Heifers. But until that's built, they're putting a pop-up bar at Plaza. They say they're going to keep the same Hogs and Heifers vibe, and that will be there for their temporary. I think this is great.
I think this is a good win for Plaza, and it's good for Hogs and Heifers because they were going to do like a pop-up in an empty lot for a while, right? And this is going to be a much better space for them, and I think it will drive a lot of people into Plaza. It was always busy when it was at the Downtown Grand, so I think that this is a win-win.
Yeah, and they're calling this the Outpost, and they say you can expect a slightly toned-down version of the classic Hogs and Heifers saloon, but don't worry, the loud, unapologetically bawdy spirit of Hogs is very much alive. So, yeah, and that'll liven up that area of the Plaza, that end of Plaza, which is always very quiet.
Yeah, that's saying, hey, we're right next to a casino. You got to be a little bit okay.
Back to food, top 5 tacos in Las Vegas. I saw this from Marco Murillo, and he has a good mix here because he's going to local spots, and he's not just picking carne asada tacos. There's fish tacos on there, quesabirria tacos. Of course, he does have tacos El Gordo listed as number 5 for their adobada tacos, but some good stuff from Gorditas, Betancourt, Baja Mar, Aztec Taco, Carolina's Mexican Kitchen. Watch his video because these tacos look friggin' delicious.
Which one's your favorite?
I've only had tacos El Gordo. I feel I'm not a food influencer, Mark, but I'm going to go get all of these.
You lose your taco card, man.
I will. I feel like this video told me that I do not have a taco card and I need to step up my game. But all of these look incredible. But I would probably go with the Aztec Taco at Chino's, the asada shrimp and cheese. That looked great. But now we must say goodbye to my beloved Disco Show. I only got to know you recently and fall in love with you. Now, I had a feeling this was going to happen. Disco Show has been announced that it's going to close January 3rd because I had heard rumblings that they were offering comps pretty wide out to Caesars Rewards members and that the ticket sales hadn't been going well. Talked about discounts, and unfortunately, Spiegel World announced that Disco Show will close. That is sad. This is one of the funnest shows in Vegas. Now, the bars and the restaurant are going to stay open. They were having a hard time drawing people into those with the show. Maybe they'll find a new way to get them in without the show. But yeah, this is sad for me.
You fucking killed it, man.
I did. If I hadn't gone, it would still be there.
No, I mean, it's just crazy timing that you were just there and you were saying how much you loved it. And then it's gone like 2 weeks later. Sad to see. But it is strange because you said there was nobody at the bars outside of the people going to the show for the most part. So I don't know how that's going to work. Hopefully they figure out something that makes it work. I'm excited to go check out those bars. You made it seem like they're really a cool spot. And maybe it's just people realizing that they can go there and adding some signage outside or whatever they do and say, hey, this isn't a show anymore. This is just a bar. And that should work, hopefully.
Yeah, I think that's the point is right now you think, oh, this is a showroom that I'm going into. And it really isn't. The showroom is inside of that area. They spent $40 million to develop Disco Show. I'm imagining that number also includes the bars and the restaurant, but that's a lot of money spent on this. And it wasn't, it was a little over a year that it ran. So it's not a huge success. And so much fun. If you have time and you're in Vegas, go see this before it closes.
Before Sean killed it.
And let's close with this. Venetian's best year ever. Patrick Nichols was in front of the Nevada Gaming Control Board trying to get his license, and he was talking a lot about Venetian and how they're just having this incredible year. And he talks a lot about how the lower end properties are struggling, where that hasn't quite been the case for the higher end properties. But also, he talks about how they've added, 11 restaurants since Apollo took over ownership, how they've spent $1 billion, obviously through renovating all of the rooms, through the new food hall, all those sorts of renovations. The Venetian is apparently done with all of its renovations, where the Palazzo side will still get some more love. But yeah, overall, Venetian doing really well, better than ever, it seems.
I think this is one of the few times we've seen an investment firm type of thing take over a casino and improve it. I mean, we saw it at Cosmo a bit when they took it over because they had to, and they made it more valuable. And then we've seen it here at the Venetian. So it's kind of cool. They've done a lot of good things. They've added a lot of stuff. We just need them to finish that tower out front, Sean.
Yes, this is owned by a hedge fund and this is private equity, but the way he seems to run this property, and I've seen several interviews with him and then some of the quotes coming from this, is he really is like that guy that's in charge, and he really knows this property and he's doing a great job. He comes from Cosmo, I believe, before that, where he worked under private equity in a similar way, where they really were beloved by employees. They pay for all of the healthcare for their employees, which I thought was really interesting as well. I didn't know that. So they pay the copay, or they pay the premiums for all of their employees, the complete premiums.
They seem like the best independent, semi-independent person on the strip right now.
Yeah, and it's great to see them doing well. Also talks about value. What is value? And it's not about being cheap. It's about delivering what you're paying for. It's about getting what you paid for. So it seems like whenever I hear this guy talk, I'm like, this is who you want running a casino like that. They've had so much success with the Sphere, and at least the approach to it is great. And I will say that the Venetian was fine before, but they have put a lot of fresh life into that property that it needed, brightened it up, cleaned it up. It's a great property. And I've said, I don't know that there's a resort in the world with a better restaurant selection.
Yeah, their restaurants are great there. And isn't that exactly the same thing the Wynn CEO said too?
Yeah, Craig Billings said the same thing about value. They're doing really well, and they're actually approaching this from a value perspective. So they are looking at all this wider narrative about Las Vegas slowing down, and they're tweaking their businesses, but they are keeping their service levels up, and they're doing well. Not everybody has the money to stay at these places. That's the truth. And our service culture has slipped to a level that, I mean, it used to be you stayed at a mid-tier property and you still got service, and that has gone away a little bit. So it kind of sucks that you got to go to the really nice places to get treated so nice, but they're doing well, and that's why people are going.
And I think you can still find fairly good deals at Venetian depending on the timing, and I'm looking forward to staying there in a few weeks.
Yeah, they partnered with Hyatt too. I mean, this property really did transform in the post-Sands era, and I was a little skeptical. You know, it was founded by Sheldon Adelson, and so you have a visionary casino founder, if you want to call him that, the original owner, and now it goes to the second owners, and it does seem like at least it's headed in a different direction, and a good direction. And yeah, the Sphere, what a score for the Venetian the Sphere was.
The MGM Sphere, no more.
No more. I love that. I was having a discussion on X about how glad I am that the Sphere calls Vegas home as opposed to another city.
No, I mean, it's the perfect fit. I couldn't think of another city. Maybe Dubai would be the only other one that kind of would have the same type of soul and fit and just the over the topness of Vegas. So I think it's great that it started here, and it's amazing to see. And they really hit their stride.
And if you're looking for fancy, the best intersection, Spring Mountain, Las Vegas Boulevard, Venetian, Wynn. I go Wynn. That's my favorite place, but Venetian ain't bad. You ain't going to do bad there at all. So let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about today. Guy Savoy, have you eaten there? Is that the best restaurant in the world or in Vegas? Flamingo, that carpet. What do you think about the carpet there? Excel World Championships. Did you attend that sexy event? I love the Excel. I'm so happy every time it comes back every year. Leave a comment. We do 2 shows a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, and we will be back in a couple days with another show. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Have a good week, everybody. It was Sean's fault that it wasn't on the last one.
I won't cut it out this time, I promise.